Hey, welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Journey, the site that's all about getting you unstuck, motivating you, and equipping you to get to where you want to be, making a living the dream. We're coming to you from Austin, Texas, which people claim to be the weirdest city in the United States. I have no idea why. Maybe our guest will be able to shed light on that today, but I'm super excited to introduce you to Brandon Epstein. Brandon is an entrepreneur based here in Austin who is doing a ton of exciting things. So I'm going to throw it over to Brandon. Brandon, if you could introduce yourself, share with us a little bit about your background and exactly what you're doing now professionally.
Sure. 23 years old. My background in school, I kind of always danced to the beat of my own drum. So I started my own degree. It was called The Mental Aspect of Human Performance. So I was always really interested in the power of the mind, and the power of the mind in directly affecting the world that we see created before us. And this was a little too fluffy for, college, so I just called it The Mental Aspect of Human Performance, and pretty much took psychology and exercise science and put them together. So the mind body were my main courses. Upon graduation, I was like, all right, am I gonna go get a PhD in sports psychology, or am I gonna pursue neuroscience? I didn't really know what route to go to. I was applying for a ton of internships and research positions, and fortunately didn't get any of them. So by the time I graduated, I was like, all right, so what do I do now? I was like, I knew I liked helping people. That's always been a driving force for me. I love working with people. And just contributing. That's my biggest thing, because I kind of learned at a young age, just you get exactly what you put out into the world.
Yeah, definitely. And you're doing a ton of things. You mentioned earlier that you've got your hands in so many different projects. Can you share with us some of those projects that you're involved with?
Absolutely. So right now I've got a health and fitness app company. Also a lot of personal development apps out. We have 58 apps out right now. Starting as entrepreneur with no money, pretty much. We really had to just grind out getting these apps done. We just got just the worst developers and just put something out there to make some money. And so we kind of built our way up, and now we have we have a nice lineup of apps out now. Apps that help you get better in life at pretty much anything. One of our apps is called Better You. That's probably our most significant app. It pretty much has if you're familiar with NLP,
neuro-linguistic programming,
and brainwave training, it uses those two things to help you get better at sports, sleep better, attract more money into your life, you name it. So
awesome. That's so intriguing. I think for a lot of the viewers, they aren't too familiar with the app world, but it's an area that's really exploding, isn't it? Can you share with us how you chose apps to get into?
Sure. So I was lucky enough. I graduated from college in Los Angeles in 2012, and my buddy was also going to a local college. I went to Whittier College. He went to Cal State Northridge, and we were both just driving up to Eugene, Oregon, where we went to high school. So it was a 15-plus hour drive, and so we were just on the phone the whole time. And he's just in my ear. He's like, "Listen, man, I started an app company. This is where it's at." And I'm like, "All right. I just got an iPhone 2 months ago. Not good with computers. How am I supposed to do this?" And so I was like, whatever. He pitched it to every one of our friends. He was like, you need to get into apps somehow. And from some research I did in college, actually, on the mind, I'm not going to get into that now, but I had a little money. I had a couple $1,000s. So I just took it and I threw it into an app and tried to follow the market, and it just shit the bed.
Wow. And
just didn't do anything, didn't make any money. And so, I was down to no money, no job, and I was like, all right, so where do I go from here? And fortunately, my buddy was he was having some success in his app company. So he said, listen, he was also a Division I basketball player, and I had trained him because he was thinking about playing ball in Europe in the mental aspect of performance. And so he's like, listen, you turn these into apps, this whole mental thing. You make a bunch of apps have to do with getting better at life, and I'll fund it. And so he did it. It really only cost us around $1,000 or so. And then we just kept building and building and building, and all the way up until, I guess, I kind of had some spots in there where I kind of was plateauing a little bit. And then it's going to sound really strange because the two have nothing to do with each other, but I went to a Drake concert in November, and I was just like looking at Drake on stage. I was like a few feet away from him. I was like, man, like I need to get on this level. Like, what am I doing? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, these apps out there making some money, but I need to take it to another level. Like, I'm trying to reach that level.
Yeah.
And so I started a few other companies. I started. I was like, I've been in acting and modeling a little bit, and so I'm signed with the agency here. Yeah. And I reached out and I said, we need to take this whole industry, whole talent industry, mobile.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing right now. We have this app, it's called Slate, and it'll be out here in the next 3 months. Wow. And it's going to take the whole industry mobile. It's a really fun project.
Man,
and then, yeah, so we got that going on. And then I was trying to do this other project for a while that I couldn't get funded. And then another buddy of mine was like, pitch this idea. It's kind of similar to Vine.
Yeah.
But instead of liking videos, which is all we do in social media, instead we were for the most part allowing people to vote on videos.
Okay.
So you would have like, for example, someone put up hashtag best backflip. And so then your buddy would like put up hashtag best backflip, put up his video.
Yeah.
So there'd be 2 videos now.
Yeah.
And then your friends socially could follow you and they could vote on them. And so pretty much you're eventually going to have people who are best at everything in the world, like a Guinness Book of World Records within an app.
Wow.
And so that's a pretty fun app. That should actually be out within the next month. So
yeah.
I'm going to be doing some testing here shortly.
That's exciting, man. You've got you really do have your hands in so many different things. I've got a question. What drives you? You know, you're young, you're so motivated, and you're in the personal development world, so you meet a lot of people that are trying to get unstuck. What drives you, and what do you think holds back a lot of people from stepping out?
Man, it's fear, of course. Fear of not feeling like you're not enough. That's the biggest fear, you know? It's like so many people think that, you know, oh, well, that person can do it, but I can't, you know? Or I'm not old enough to do this, or I'm not smart enough. I don't have the degree to do this. When I graduated college, I tried to get into alternative medicine, and like I was volunteering, I guess, at these different places. Yeah. And I was pretty much told, like, you're not going to get anywhere until you either become a doctor or, you know, get some kind of certification. And I was like, you know what? You just have to find ways to burst through those paradigms. And what I did was I created an app company where I got to teach people. And now, you know, I have like over 170,000 users that I'm reaching through, you know, my teachings, which I would never have been able to, you know. So it's funny how life takes you in that direction, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. How many people did you say? 107?
Yeah, 170,000.
170,000.
Because we have 58 apps out now. Yeah. So, you know, it's we have quite a few apps driving that traffic and gain users.
Yeah, that's huge. But, so from all your experience, someone comes to you and just, you know, you talked about this mental game. What are some very practical steps you'd give them to get unstuck, to really push through those boundaries? Man,
I'm actually working on a course right now that's going to help people with this exact thing. But the biggest thing is to start is a dialogue you have with yourself. You know, how are you talking to yourself? You know, so many people are so hard on themselves. It's like you need to learn to absolutely love yourself and know you're a genius. And it sounds silly, but like I've almost looked to like, you know, like rappers. Like you see, like they just think they're the shit. You know, and it's like, okay, well, you are pretty famous, so you must have done something right. Yeah. It's that mindset of like having a knowing within yourself that you can do whatever you decide to do. Like once you decide to do something, it's done. Yeah. So have that dialogue within yourself, like building yourself up constantly. Like, you know, I am this, you know, I am capable of this, you know, I am just affirmations within yourself. And whenever, you know, you just need to create a trigger whenever like a bad thought comes in. It's just like, bam, I'm going to hit it with like a positive thought. And it sounds like really kind of fluffy, right? Like, you know, just like positive self-talk. But if you put the emotion into it, that's where it's at. And that's where you program that unconscious mind.
Yeah. So that trigger you talked about, that sounds really cool. You said as soon as you notice that come in, what's your trigger to respond to it?
Yeah, I mean, I've just gotten to a point where I train myself. So if I have a doubt, like I take it a little bit too far sometimes. Like I'm working on this course the other day, and this is how like I built the trigger, but usually I'm a little more calm than this. But I'm like working on this course. I'm like, oh man, what if it doesn't work? What if no one wants to buy it? And then I have my buddy. I was like, you need to slap me in the face right now, because I just had, like, I need to learn that, like, whenever that comes into my house, into my mind, I associate it with pain, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm a pretty big Tony Robbins fan, and it's true. Everything we do is, like, because we're trying to get away from pain or gain pleasure.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can trigger that negative thought to pain, you're like, okay, I'm going to stay away from that. I'm not going to have those doubts anymore. Or if, you know, something on a normal basis I do, like I have like a doubt about something myself, and then I just start to like think about all the things I've already accomplished, and then it helps, you know, get back into that state of like knowing that you can do whatever you're trying to do right now.
That's really cool. I know so many people watching are going to benefit from that snippet and that little piece of that's crucial. That's really huge to respond in that way. So I hope a lot of people really take that to heart and apply it to their life. Now, personally, what would you say would be a huge highlight for you as you've stepped out into uncharted waters, as you've pursued your dream? What's been a highlight?
Yeah, I think everyone needs to understand, like, especially if you live in America or in any other first world country, Australia, like, let's say Europe, it's like, you're not going to die, you know? Like, this is always my thing. It's like, okay, like, I could have no money. I could be, you know, whatever, $100,000 in debt. Like, I'm not going to die. Like, you have to try it. You have to find your purpose. Like, because once you do, life becomes so joyful that, like, it makes everything worthwhile. You know, that just has to be your mindset. It's like, I'm either going to find my purpose or I'm going to die trying. And you'll enjoy the process because you're going towards something that you want to do. You know?
That's awesome. Love your energy and your passion, bro. Now, 3 questions just as we wrap up that I always like to finish with. The first one, who's been the greatest influence in your life?
Greatest influence? I would say the greatest would be this guy who taught me a lot of alternative medicine and taught me NLP, brainwave training, like energy healing, tons of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Taught me the power of the mind, essentially. His name's Clayton Kelleher, and no one else would know who he was except for, you know, a handful of people he's worked with up in Oregon. I mean, he's touched a lot of people, but I'm helping him get on that tech so he can reach more people.
Yeah, sure.
So he's definitely one of them. The guy's amazing. Definitely, you know, my parents, they've been amazing, just like baseline to always have me know that, like, you know, I'm supported, I'm loved.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, you know, Tony Robbins has been huge for me.
Awesome.
Learning from him and kind of reprogramming your mind, you know, to really only have thoughts that are going to serve you.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
yeah, I'd say those are the big 3 right there. Put my parents together as one.
Cool. So. Perfect. Now, what kind of an impact or legacy are you wanting to leave in the world around you and the broader world in general through the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I want to serve people the best I can. Like, I have another app that I'm working on right now. It's called Vision Box. And I have a really, like, poor version of it right now. And we're recreating it. But I have 3 things on here. It says, I'm always asking myself, am I giving love? Am I being compassionate? Am I serving the people I've met? Awesome. So if I can do that through my apps or whatever businesses I have, like, that's like the end goal. So I'm really transitioning now into my purpose is creating products like, you know, Better You, which are going to help people, and Vision Box, which will, you know, allow people to keep that right state of mind and, you know, use the law of attraction for their benefit. And, you know, every business I'm going to do thus far is to uplift everyone around me.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. And I love how you have these core values, what you just read there, and you found, I guess, a vehicle to really deliver these values. And for a lot of people, I think that's where they get stuck, is they have these values but searching for that vehicle, and you found it through apps. And I know just people getting touched through this story are going to try and find their vehicle regardless of what that is. But those values, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, the last question before you try and rush off on us, what's your definition of success?
I would say success is finding your purpose, or at least probably not even finding, you know, pursuing your purpose with everything you have, because success to me is essentially, you know, having happiness, like having a happy life, feeling pleasure most of the time. And I think that comes from pursuing your purpose and then you know, it's a process. It never stops because it changes. You know, you're always pivoting.
No,
so
awesome. I love it, man. Such a passionate guy. Check out the show notes and we'll have contact details, how you can connect with Brandon's company. Check out his apps, the exciting work that he's doing, and maybe you want to get on board with what he's doing. So connect, check out the show notes. Before we finish, any final words, Brandon?
No, you know, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's been a lot of fun.
It's funny how we met, but you know.
Absolutely.
I'm always up for adventure. So.
Yeah, cool. Brandon Epstein, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Go out and get it. See you later.